Hi everyone, welcome to Working with Your Gifts. Now this is a short introduction that is going to describe what these readings are meant to illuminate for you. If you don't want to listen to it, you can skip right to the reading by clicking in the timestamp below. So for anyone who is new, welcome. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meaning-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. Now, what does meaning-based spiritual coaching services mean? That means that I utilize the principles of logotherapy, which is a school of psychoanalysis thought that focuses on illuminating you as an individual. What makes you different? What makes your experience of life different so that you can find your own meaning within your life. But first, you have to be aware of yourself and what makes you unique. And the second step is being able to connect that unique self with your external environment to understand where these unique parts of yourself fit into the greater collective human experience. So this reading specifically is the first baby step to getting you to become self-aware of innate gifts that are unique to you. Now, since these are general readings, these are going to focus on the broader overview of looking at your astrological sign, which is going to be in one of your three main house placements in your birth chart, which is either your sun, your moon, or your rising sign. Now, you can look at all three of these. I do recommend watching a video for each of those because each one focuses on something slightly different. So when we're looking at your sun sign. Your sun sign tends to focus more on illuminating aspects of yourself, gifts to tap into that pertain specifically to your spiritual experience. When I say spiritual, I mean more of like your grand overarching purpose, that feeling inside of you, that those innate instinctual drives to enact a vision for the world that you emotionally connect to. For your rising sign, when you look at the sign associated with your rising sign, this is more about how you are perceived by others in the world. And I've heard some say it's kind of like the role you're meant to play. So if you're looking at this as being an actor in a play, this is where you get to step onto stage and how others view you in your role. And this is an important aspect because oftentimes we're so focused on our sun sign placements that we don't realize that there's an element of how others see us, and that the sign placement that is associated with our rising sign has to do more with our physical experience of life, how others perceive us in our physical world, and how we in turn actually act and interact on a physical level with our experience. And then we have our moon sign placements. Now, moon sign placements I feel are incredibly important to be aware of because this is where we tie directly into our emotional core. It's where we actually also act kind of from a place of our instinct. It's where we act from a subconscious place. So this can be important because in understanding the unique gifts and the unique attributes to the sign that is in your moon placement, you can gain a broader understanding of where you can find emotional fulfillment and perhaps where you're blocking yourself off from emotional fulfillment. So I do find that moon sign placement can be very important. It's also where you can start to see and become aware of where you act instinctually. So when pushed by your external environment, what's your first instinct to act? Your first instinct to emotionally connect with that either event or situation or person. And so it can actually provide a lot of insight into perhaps areas where you need to grow a little bit in an emotional sense. You know, if your first instinct is always to burst into tears or to get extremely angry, that's where we can start to understand, okay, this is why we're emotionally blocked from feelings of happiness and fulfillment, because we are not expressing the gifts that lie within our kind of subconscious instinctual level of reaction, and where we've blocked ourselves off from actually growing this part of ourselves, from evolving from almost more of like a childlike blah throw a tantrum type tendency to really fine-tuning this and utilizing this emotional connection to heighten and really allow for your emotional responses to be impactful both to others and to yourself. So that's kind of an overview of what we're going to be looking at here. What we're going to be diving into in each one of these readings is to take a look at what are the key gifts for the sign. And I look at the gifts for the sign meaning you are born with a specific birth chart, which is unique to you. No other person will have the same birth chart as you. It is your fingerprint that separates you from all others. And so as part of this blueprint that you have, there are layers to this. So there's the first layer of more of a general overview of kind of what divinely you are given as your broad goal and role to fill in the greater collective. Meaning, let's have an example. Let's say you were born as a Taurus. Now, Taurus is a sign of stability. It's an earth sign. It's a fixed earth sign. So you're working with the gifts of stability. In addition to that, there's working with the gifts of creating structure, working with the gifts of working with your tangible environment. And these are things that are meant to be utilized by you in your day-to-day to not only help you feel connected to an innate part of yourself, but also to help fill a role in the greater collective experience. So not everybody is born with Taurus in one of their 3 main house placements. But if you are, then you're meant to be an example to others or to fill roles that the other signs cannot, so that you really fill in the gaps and keep the balance going between everybody and all of their unique gifts. So the more that you start to become aware of your unique gifts and you start to tap into them on a high level, then you can start to break it down and go deeper into a very personal and singular individual level, where you start to then uncover your own unique abilities and gifts that don't tie directly back to your sign placements. Instead, they tie back to you as the individual. And that's where getting a personal reading would help uncover that aspect of yourself. But we get to be aware in stages. So it isn't about when you're starting this road to uncovering who you are, so that you can start to answer fully your own I am question. And when I talk about what is the I am question, it's if somebody right now was to walk up to you and say, announce to the world, step on stage and tell people about yourself. Who are you? And you would start by stepping up and saying, I am. And how would you answer that question? Now, a lot of us might have certain things that we could, say right off the bat. I am a mother. I'm a construction worker. I am fill in the blank. But where we go a little deeper is this is here to answer the larger, deeper I am question. Who are you at your core, and what is your purpose and place in this world? And I think most of us are, at some point in our lives, we come to this existential crisis of trying to figure that out, of do I matter? Does my life hold meaning? Where do I find meaning in life for myself? And that first step is becoming self-aware. And it happens in layers. We don't just wake up one day and say, oh, I'm going to be self-aware today. It's finding a starting place that works for you that starts to unlock that connection again between yourself and your uniqueness and your external environment. So it's baby steps. As an example for this would be like you saying, okay, I realize I'm not feeling happy and emotionally fulfilled in my life. So I am going to start to utilize techniques like meditation or self-awareness practices, or just finding the time to do one thing a day that brings me some type of enjoyment, whether that's building in time to go for a walk by myself, or finding the time to reconnect with a hobby that you maybe have long since pushed to the side. Like, I'm going to start writing a little bit again every day, or I'm going to take out my paint set that I haven't utilized in 15 years and start to just doodle with it. These are the ways that we start to tap back into our connection to self. And that's where our connection to the greater collective experience starts. It starts with connecting to ourself again as a unique individual. And then from there, once we have a healthy connection to ourself and awareness of self, we can then go out into the external environment and connect that unique self with our external environment so we can start to understand where we fit in. And that's really where then we start the adventure to find meaning for ourselves. So I hope this has been illuminating and informative. And your video will start right now. Thanks, guys. Bye. Hi, all my lovely Scorpios, and welcome to your Working with Your Gifts reading. So in this reading, I am going to start by pulling an animal or spirit animal, I always forget which one it is, spirit animal oracle card. And this is going to be to kind of get the energy right now that you're sitting with around innate gifts that are yours to tap into just by being born under the sign of Scorpio in one of your 3 major house placements. So when I talk about gifts, we are basically touching on the surface of the larger blueprint that makes you a unique individual soul. And what do I mean by that? I mean that you have a singular perspective in the world. There will never be another you at this time, in this moment, in this place. And we each have within us our own unique abilities, hopes, dreams, needs that are meant to be expressed and to fulfill some aspect, some place, and some need in our external environment. But we can start at a high level to get basically, we want to start with self-awareness. And part of self-awareness is going in layers. We can't dig deep before we start digging at the top, if that makes sense. So we're going to start by taking a look on a very surface level, just at the innate gifts that you have as being a Scorpio, but also where they kind of fit into the larger collective experience. So Scorpio, you guys have this, you are a deep water sign. You are the fixed water sign. So you're really here to fill that role that all fixed signs, whether water sign or not, are here to kind of help. You're a stabilizing influence in the zodiac, as well as a stabilizing influence in the greater collective experience. So you guys are steady. And you're steady on the emotional plane, which is actually how you guys have the ability to dive so deep into your emotions, where that can actually be a very scary thing for the majority of people in general to deal with. But just by simply being born under the sign of Scorpio, and with this in one of your major house placements, you have the ability to tap into your emotions, but to be able to go a few layers deeper than the average person. In addition to that, you have this innate way of being able to be very true to yourself because you have this deep emotional connection to self. You actually can see the world through the lens of emotion, which is, I think, very integral and needed in today's world, especially because I feel right now our education system, especially in America, which is where I am, does not focus on teaching us or young children how to process emotions, how to grow our emotional experience as much as our mental and physical experience. And the emotions directly tie into our spiritual experience. So I really do feel that you guys also have this ability to really tap into that confidence that comes with direct connection to spirit. Oh, and a card, as I say that, comes flying right out. Okay, so I've chosen a spirit animal oracle card, and yours is Chameleon Spirit. And it says, act as if, number 14. And it's so interesting because almost every single one of the cards I've pulled for every sign over the past week has been a number that breaks down to 5, which is very interesting because when we look at numerology, we are in a 5 universal year. And 5 is the number specifically that denotes change, that denotes being able to kind of be in the chaos while also building anew. So there is this element actually that this kind of mirrors your gift, Scorpio, of death and transformation. So the other side of being able to really dive deep into your emotions and be this kind of stable, confident element in our greater collective human experience is that in addition to that, your whole kind of story that you are here to show to the world is that you can start as one thing and evolve into another. So you harness the energy of the phoenix. You harness the energy of death and transformation. Actually, your major arcana card in the tarot is the death card. And it's not to be scared of. It's actually to show the importance of transformation. It's to show the importance to the greater human collective that, again, we can, as human beings, start either with a certain philosophy or start in a specific location or a setting or an environment. And we can, by the end of our lives, grow and evolve and transcend beyond that so that we can not only internally change, but we can actually change and grow past our original circumstances as well. So you guys have a beautiful place to fill in the greater collective human experience. Now, once you kind of are aware of this, then you can dive deeper, and that's where you really uncover as you start to be aware of this key role that you fill, of your own unique abilities that then you bring into that experience, into that role of being of service just by simply living as the best version of yourself. So Chameleon Spirit, act as if. I love this card. The number 14 to me denotes, along with the number 5, the element of freedom. And sometimes we forget that we don't have to know everything. When I think of act as if, there's this element of sometimes we doubt ourselves. We doubt how much we know. We doubt how our experiences in real life are sometimes enough to make us an expert without having the diploma or the degree, or without, we can still act as a happy, satiated human being without having the perfect partnership, but yet being well aware on an emotional level of what that would feel like, and that we will have that at some point. There's this element of when we act as if we act as if we already have what we're working towards, we end up changing our own behavior so that we end up manifesting what we want in the real life, in our tangible external environment, quicker. And it's not because we're sitting here like I think sometimes people mix up manifestation with simply like almost like looking at it like it's magic. Now, granted, there is an element that I've personally experienced that, yeah, there is a little bit of magic with manifestation, but there is this quality of we can simply just live into our experience. And by living into our experience and changing our internal perspective, we start to see our external world differently. And that may seem like magic. That may seem like things are suddenly manifesting. In reality, what it is that by changing your internal perspective of your external environment, you start to see the opportunities that were always there, but that you were kind of blind to before. And when we act as if, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever kind of done this, when you, let's say, as a funny example I've seen in movies, where the people walk up and pretend to be the CEO of a company to get into some fancy party, or they act as if trying to, walk up and fool a security guard to get into a business, or act as if you're somebody, famous to get into a club. There's this quality of when you come across as confident and you show this outward display, most people are just going to take that at face value and say, okay, I don't need to see your credentials. Come right on in. And I feel right now that that's really what you're being asked to tap into, is in order for you to be reminded that your confidence that comes from this deep emotional connection to self is actually what is needed right now in our external environment. That people need to be reminded again of what the importance of knowing yourself and being able to express that, but in a healthy, emotionally connected way. Not in a way that's aggressive and take me or leave me kind of way, but in a way that is just, this is me. And I'm living my life, and I am happy in who I am. I am happy. I understand my ability or abilities, and I understand what I want out of life, and I understand that I have full faith that this will bring me happiness because I'm emotionally connected to it, and that if this involves change and kind of that death and transformation, so be it. I can become that. There is this quality to Scorpios in general that you guys have this element of, well, if they can do it, so can I. And that is what leads to transformation. But you guys are also a fixed sign. So sometimes what comes to odds, especially right now with this, we just came through a full moon, a super full moon actually, in Capricorn. And this was a very intense full moon that kind of brought a culmination to us needing to release something, but also to kind of highlight where we are a little stuck in our structures, in our routine, in our work ethic, and where we need to break free a little bit to actually find some freedom to emotionally connect to. And I think for you guys, when I'm thinking of that, there is this quality sometimes because you are a fixed sign that you can get stuck in this place of emotional tie to something. So you can maybe hold a lasting resentment towards somebody because you are so fixed on hanging on to it. You're so fixed on an emotional place of this person hurt me, and screw them. And you keep tied to that instead of releasing it and moving on to allow more, I'd say, beneficial elements to come in that you can become emotionally tied to in that same realm. So the more that the more we become fixed in our emotional ties to negative things, the less we have room to bring in ties to positive things. And I think that's kind of the lesson that you guys are going through a little bit right now, is to release the ties to anything that makes you feel less confident, anything that doesn't actually make you feel emotionally connected on a fulfilled level. And this can even be a negative emotional fixation on what you don't have. the comparison to others, when in reality you are meant to be shining as the confident self. What it's like to live from a place of confident attachment to emotions and living through them. And it's not about your tie to, well, this person over there has this and I don't, and so I'm going to negatively, emotionally, glom on to that vision and that failed, well, I haven't done X, Y, and Z, and so I'm not even close or capable to having that. And what you're being told by Spirit is to act as if. To be reminded that you have gone through a lot. You are, and this is, for anyone who's started a new job recently or gone back to school or is looking to start a new relationship, this is a beautiful reminder to step into playing the role that you want to be seen as. So if you're going into a new job, well, act like the people hired you for a reason, right? They saw your potential. They know your background. And it doesn't matter if other people around you have 100 different degrees that you don't have. Act as if you are meant to fulfill that role. Act as if only you can fulfill that role. And the same bringing that into relationships, especially romantic relationships. Act as if you are the other person's everything. Act as if you guys have the life that you want, that you are emotionally connected to. And if you're not, if this is what you're seeking, then it's telling you to act as if you already have that person with you. Act as if you already have the environment you want. And that's when you will start to welcome in those people who are ready to come in, ready to honor you, ready to honor the confident aspect of who you are. I'm going to pull some tarot cards just to get additional clarification and any messages that want to come out. If there's anything specific, I will definitely share that with you. So again, Scorpio, I really think this is just about being reminded that you guys are incredibly powerful signs in the zodiac. Again, teaching everyone this lesson of death and transformation, that we all have this ability, is incredible. Let's see, we have one card that came out. Let's see if anything else wants to come out. There is this element of, I think, with Scorpios as well. Again, because you have this ability to dive deeper, you have this quality and this ability to really be able to see below the surface too, to help others. That you have this the kind of, again, like a sixth sense, similar to Cancer, but slightly different, in that you really can dive down and read people. And sometimes that can actually, we can almost use that for manipulation purposes. And for you, Scorpio, when we're talking about stepping up into the highest version of yourself, it's about not allowing you to be manipulated by others because of your deep emotional ties and kind of like your fixated element of like glomming on to something on an emotional level and sticking with it for a while. So not letting somebody else manipulate you through the fact that that's part of your gift, but also in realizing that you have the gift, you can reverse that. And you, instead of trying to manipulate others and being able to kind of see below the surface and work in this kind of subterranean level of the emotional realm, especially when the average person can't go there or hasn't already been, I'd say, trained to do that, you instead can rise up and be able to teach others how to do that. You can actually sense when somebody is not happy, or that when you take specific action that it's going to hurt another person, or you're able to almost anticipate how others react on an emotional level and be able to actually help elevate that in them, to be able to bring to the surface what somebody else might be too afraid to actually admit to themselves or even see, because Most people, again, don't have this ability to really understand their emotions and even be able to verbalize them, which I think you guys have that capability to do. Okay, so 3 cards came out. We have the Knight of Pentacles, we have the 3 of Cups, and we have the 8 of Cups. And what I'm seeing here is that there's a quality of, Scorpio, you're building something slow and steady. That's what the Knight of Pentacles is. This is the man who's going to go, and a man or a woman, somebody's going to go out with their seeds and diligently take action to plant them in the appropriate place, to ensure that they're watered. And again, this is in the tangible world. This is Pentacles. So I see that you guys are diligently working. It's a slow and steady pace. Again, really works well with the fixed sign energy that you are. So, but I see here that there is possibly, with the 3 of Cups, the 3 of Cups can be an element of celebration with others or support from others. But I'm getting this feeling instead mixed with this, that you're working towards something in your life that's creating change, because we're all going through change. And the fact that your card is act as if makes me think that you're entering into a new stage in your life, this place where possibly you have this opportunity to actually release 8 of Cups and start to transform. That this is a starting the transformation process for you guys, and that you might have to walk away from those that perhaps you had seen as your support group, or that maybe you had misinterpreted were your support group. And now you get the chance. So the 8 of Cups is taking on an emotional level a stock of your life and realizing that although these cups in front of you, the 8 cups in front of you, might have been wonderful at one point, or what you thought you were working towards, or what others will on the external look at you and say, well, how are you not happy and emotionally fulfilled by what you have? It looks great on paper. It doesn't emotionally fulfill you. And Cancer, you know this better than anybody. You're going to know right off the bat when something isn't emotionally fulfilling to you. And the 8 of Cups to me is always, there are maybe 8 cups left over, but you have the 9th cup, and you know that if you turn your back and walk away to go on the adventure to find the matching 10th cup, which is the ultimate emotional fulfillment of your dreams and hopes and wishes for your life, that you know you'll find it. That you're taking your 9th cup, which the 9 of Cups in the tarot is the wish card. It's the kind of throwing up everything and saying, I'm happy and emotionally fulfilled with what I have, but this is my ultimate wish for my 10 of Cups. And so that's really where I feel you are right now. You're on this journey. You're starting this journey of walking away, knowing full well and diving into that confident place that you know what will emotionally fulfill you. You're a Scorpio. You know that. This isn't the quest to see, well, does this... There's a lot of signs out there right now that are wrestling with, well, does this make me happy? Does this make me happy? You guys know what makes you happy. But now it's about having that courage to break that fixed energy that you work with, to walk away because you're building something new. And you're going to do it slow and steady. And if that means that others might turn their backs on you, or if you have to walk away from, I feel like these are people who might not believe in you. Or these are people who you've tried maybe to prove yourself to. And it isn't about that. It's about realizing that it's the journey of you. We all live our own lives. No one can live our life for us, and we can't live our lives for another. We have to just live our life. And I think for you guys, with this, again, chameleon spirit, the number 14, there's this element of stepping into who you know you are becoming. And it may be scary. It may be that element of, you know, you're turning into the butterfly, but you're still the caterpillar. But you know that in a short period of time, you will be able to fly. And so you have to act and get ready and change your circumstances and change your emotional ties to how your life is set up to get ready to be able to make room for the fact that you are going to fly. You may not be able to do it in this exact moment, but it's coming in. And so there is this element of preparation to walk away from what you currently are in, to walk towards what will ultimately, and you know on a deep level, will be more emotionally fulfilling. So in working with your gifts and being able to be this shining example for others, we're coming out of a pandemic where there's a lot of people, again, who are having the hard time of understanding who they are and being able to emotionally process what they've gone through. And for you, Scorpios, it's really about stepping up into that leadership role of showing the importance that comes from being stable and confident in who you are, and being able to emotionally express that in a very clear and empowered way, and being able to help others do the same. And for you, being able to step up into this place of confidence, knowing that you're going through this transformation, is really going to help others be able to step up and see you as that example. All right, Scorpio, I hope that this has been somewhat illuminating. I will continue to do these reads probably once a week, or if not, maybe twice a month, depending on how much I can squeeze in. But I really do think that you guys are an important part of our collective human experience, and I hope that you are getting excited about the new version of yourself that you're transforming into. All right, bye, Scorpios.